Hello, Gold Media viewers. Today, I am super excited to welcome Mr. Gaurav Bhagat on our show. He is a renowned sales coach, entrepreneur, public speaker, author, and whatnot. I am super thrilled to take a sneak peek into his personal as well as professional life. So please stay tuned with Gold Media to welcome Mr. Gaurav Bhagat. Thank you. Hi, Gaurav. Welcome to Gold Media. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Supriya, an absolute pleasure, and been following you online and just seeing the amazing content that you've been creating, and just so good to be here. So thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much. You know what? We are super thrilled to talk to you today and excited to kind of take a sneak peek at your personal as well as professional life. So, buckle up, Gaurav.
Yep, seatbelts on and excited, and yes, I'm happy to share, of course, with your viewers and listeners. So yes, please take it away.
Awesome, awesome. So, Gaurav, you are a renowned sales coach, entrepreneur, public speaker, author, whatnot. So, tell me, how did it all start?
Okay, so I guess a long, long time ago, and my story would start like all good stories do, and those are with those four magic words, which is once upon a time. So 6-year-old boy growing up in the heart of Delhi, saying that kuch bada karna hai, I want to do some big things in life, and that's pretty much how it began. And I think the gist with entrepreneurship happened early. It was even like I said, when I was six and started like to do some things because I'm gonna go out there and make myself some big money. Tried a whole bunch of things, wrote comic book stories, sent out stuff to various publications, ran a library, I think at the age of 7.5, and had like trading card games and whatnot. Finally got into the board game business, and I think I created my first board game on the stock market, which was really my passion at the time, because it was 1992 when I was 16 and Harshad Mehta was the thing. So yeah, decided to
Right.
create a stock market game, and it's there hasn't been much looking back since. It was just always about what next, what next, what next. So always looking to create and do new things.
Awesome, awesome. So, with all the different roles that you play, Gaurav, in your professional life, how do you kind of strike a balance? I mean, one day you are a public speaker, another sales coaching is your forte. So, how do you strike a balance?
Yeah, so the joke often is even within the office and within my friends, I tell them I'm perhaps um, still the person with the most free time. So I run Consortium, which is a great gifting company. I'm training, I'm speaking on stages around the world. I'm training and consulting with companies as well. I'm still very passionate about the stock market, so I do spend some time there. Yet also bring in time with the family and pursue golf and more. And I think the cornerstone of um my planning, my scheduling, and also my goal setting piece has been my goal planner. So a few years ago I created a goal planner, and that talks about how you live a wholesome life, and that is around work, around your financial goals, around health, around lifestyle, around the mental piece, and also the family and relationships. So how do you kind of bring it all in? I think it's the goal planner, which is my bible, and that helps me immensely. And also, like I said, just driven by purpose and impact and legacy. So I guess a combination of all those things.
You are absolutely a lot more driven than, many people around. So, it's very unique, Gaurav, about you. Um, as far as sales is concerned, Gaurav, we all know that there is no one size that fits all solution, right? But what are some of your core strategies, yeah, that you truly vouch by?
Right. Yeah, I think that's a you hit the nail on the head when you said that there is no one size fit all solution. And it kind of pains me at times, when someone will come on and they'll say, oh, you know what, this worked for this industry or this worked for this person, and it's going to work for you as well. One of the core things when we talk about sales, and I've been selling all my life. I've been selling since I was six, like I said, in the businesses that I did, and 16 when I was traveling around the world, around the country, and I was doing these board games, and I would walk into a toy store in Jaipur or Bangalore or Hyderabad, and they would ask me, "Aapke mummy papa kahan hai? Like, where are your parents?" I'm like, "Aapko mummy papa se kya karna hai? I'm the person you need to be talking to." So they used to be pretty
Right.
blown away. And of course, crazy amount of rejection over the years. When I started in gifting, I was operating from home. The family had, almost gone through a period of, being bankrupt. And I had to like start from scratch, from home. And I just remember the amount of rejection was insane. So I've seen a lot, and also I've had the good fortune to work with Grant Cardone. And Grant Cardone, for all your listeners in the US, would be aware that he is the
Yeah.
world's number one sales coach, Mr. 10x himself. And I think GC and I really hit it off, and we were able to tweak a lot of his content for the Indian market. Also understand, from the basis of the depth and the experience that I had, how we can kind of merge the two and just come in with a unique perspective for every client. So when I come in to work with a client, as you rightly said, can't be a one size fit all solution. What is key in sales is fact finding. So it's very, very important to go in there and fact find first. Okay, figure out what is the pain area, what are the things that they're also looking to achieve and do, and then customize solutions based on that. I think my true gift is the fact that I can spot gaps, and I can see those gaps and see how they need to be plugged, and come in with customized solutions relatively quickly. So I think that really is my strength.
Awesome, awesome. So, Gaurav, you talked about rejections, facing rejections. So, in sales, I think that's the number one thing that, people fear. So, how do you sort of address that in your sales program?
Of course. Spot on. In fact, I'd say probably within the first 10 minutes, we talk about the reasons why people are, fearful of sales. What are the reasons that are setting them, back, and they don't want to pursue this career. Number one is the fear of rejection, right? And what I always tell them is that rejection is something that, it's a part of our life. There will be rejection in various stages. Let's say you're, pursuing this, girl or this boy, and you get kind of pushback from there. I mean, in a way, that's rejection as well. It's going to happen in your career. It's going to happen, when you, let's say, applying for a job. It's going to happen when you just go out and even try something on the entrepreneurial side. So rejection truly is, it's a part of life. And I think the fact that people say that agar hum मांगने जाएंगे तो हमें rejection मिलेगा, and hence we're not going to ask. What
Right,
you've done yourself a disservice. I remember there was a book, I think it was Jack Canfield who wrote, many years ago. He wrote I think it was the Aladdin Factor, and he says that just think that you have this lamp, right? And you rub that lamp and you just ask, and you'll probably end up getting. So again, quoting from Ritik Roshan, when he would do the Mountain Dew ad, he would always say, "Dar ke aage jeet hai." So
right.
yes, we fear many things. We fear rejection. We fear, sometimes being typecast as, sleazy. We sometimes, as salespeople, are typecast as being too pushy. We all have fears. And of course, what you have to do is you have to acknowledge that, yes, a rejection is going to happen, it's going to pop up, but acknowledge, do something about it, move forward. And which is why I say come in for sales training with us, because more than anything else, it's a mindset shift, right? So our entire, first section of our workshops are a lot around mindset, because once the mindset is in place, once you have the right attitude, everything else is easy. Like the skills are easy, the tools are easy, but mindset is key.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Gaurav, for that. So, talking about the Grand Cardone, so one of the most prestigious things that can happen to anybody, right? I mean, how does it feel to be the sole licensee in not just India, in the entire Asia? Tell us about the whole journey. How did it all happen?
So, super story actually. And it was in 2017 when for Consortium Gifts, which is my gifting company, I actually reached out to Grant Cardone and his team, and we signed up for, Cardone University, which is his ecosystem, a long program. And by virtue of that, I get to come to Vegas in 2018 for GrowthCon, which is his mega event, and actually, be at the
Right.
conference, not even meet, just be at the conference. But I was so sure I would meet Grant Cardone that I even carried a gift, for him. It's a gift that he keeps in his house, even now. So, which is pretty cool. And at that conference, I just happened to meet him in a briefing, which was very select. There was only 25 people. And he said, boss, and to the people he said over there, okay, got very emotional. And he said that, agar kar main mar gaya, okay, I'm saying that in Hindi, of course. If I was to die, people would not even know, who I am beyond a certain geographical spread. And that being North America, Canada, perhaps Mexico, a little bit of the UK, etc. He said, I'd really love it if all the great content that I've created, that legacy can be carried forward. Okay. He said, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And at that point, I walked up to him. I said, GC, whenever you're ready to do this, I will be your first licensee. Okay, this is February 2018. I said, I'll be your first licensee. Well, in Asia for sure. I mean, India, though, definitely. And he said, I don't even know what it's going to cost, GB. And I'm like, that's fine. I said, I'm signing a paper right now. Okay, whenever you're ready, here it is. And Jared was there. Jared is his president, of Cardone Enterprises. And he said, that's a big commitment. And I said, dude, I've learned it from you guys. Like, burn the boats. There is no plan B. We are doing this. And I got a call in July of 18 saying that, okay, Grant Cardone is now rolling out the licensing program. Are you still on? I said, of course I'm on. Called up, the guy who manages my mutual funds. I'm like, sell all the funds, transfer the money to Grant Cardone. And he couldn't understand it. He's like, what are you saying? Like, why are you saying transfer the money to Grant Cardone and all of that? But there's been no looking back. I think it's been phenomenal for the brand. It's been phenomenal for me as a person, and great for the companies as well.
Wow, Gaurav, what an incredible opportunity. I mean, working directly with him is like something, he's an inspiration for so many people, and so are you. So, you tell us more about the gifting consortium. I know you're a very, very proud owner of the company, and you're very passionate about it. How did it all start?
Okay. So, I tell people that things start out for two reasons. Either there's aspiration, to make something, great and, create something, phenomenal, or there's desperation where there is no choice. And then, you have to do what you have to do because of the circumstances. And this happened in the first year of college. I came from a South Delhi family, extremely privileged, traveled the world, had access to everything, went to the best schools. And one day my dad comes home and he tells me that, Gaurav, we need to take a walk. And on that walk, he told me that we were actually bankrupted because, everything that he'd been cheated by a cousin of his in a business venture, and he'd taken everything. So all the money, everything was gone. And he asked me, okay, he told me, so we're in a really bad position, a really bad place. And I said, what do we have left? And he said, all I have left is the money in my wallet. And then I'm like, okay, do you want me to get a job? Because, we knew a lot of people. And he's like, Gaurav, there are people who do jobs and there are people who create jobs. He says, you're the latter. He says, I've known your journey for obviously a really long time. He said, you'll figure something out. And that's where consortium actually started, because next day I'm sitting at a gym and I'm angry, and and I have this friend from the US who sent me this pair of weightlifting gloves. And she's like, she gave those to me, and my coach walks by and he sees them and he said, those are a nice pair of weightlifting gloves. I wish we could get something like that in India. And that actually became the first product that we started with, and then moved into mouse pads. There was no capital. It was started with 10,000 rupees drawn on a credit card. I used to work from home. There were no employees, no team, even for the first, couple of years. But we've scaled up, and now we do some big things in India and around the world. So an interesting journey nonetheless.
Wow, Gaurav. I mean, this is such an incredible journey, and you are so self-made. So, what advice would you like to give to the young entrepreneurs right now, those who are venturing into startups? And right now, the startups are booming, I think, everywhere across the world. So, what advice would you like to give it to them?
Yeah. So my core piece of advice would be that be patient. Today we live in the Instagram generation where results are supposed to be super quick. Attention spans are very, very limited. So patience is going to be key. There will be no quick wins. I see this in entrepreneurship. I see this even in the stock market. I was at a derivatives course last week, and this girl who was attending was like, "Oh, I'm going to, make money so fast." And today I saw a message saying, "Busted, my bankroll is over." So I think it's very, very important to realize that Rome wasn't built in a day. You're going to have to take your time. You are going to have to move with a pace, which will at times seem frustrating, but just stick to the path. Stick to the path, stay committed, get people to join your journey, and your movement, not by virtue of what you can or cannot afford to pay, but because of what you stand for. Because when people are invested emotionally, okay, what they want to do is they want to contribute. I mean, I didn't say that, it was Simon Sinek who said that, but that is the truth, that when people are emotionally invested, they want to contribute. But when people are financially invested, they want only a return. So get people to join your movement on the basis of being emotionally invested, and of course be patient. I think that's the biggest piece of advice to the youth today.
Wow, it absolutely makes sense, Gaurav. So, you're also part of the cancer organization. Tell us something more about that. How did that cause, even come to that mind?
Yeah, so it was actually a very unfortunate story. So Karan was my nephew, and at the age of 18, he goes down to Bangalore, to pursue his hotel management, and shortly after was diagnosed with leukemia. And within 4 to 6 months of his treatment, he actually passed away. And it was very, very hard for the family. And I recall, his family going across and asking various NGOs and various charities for help. And the response they would get was crazy. Like someone would say, "हाँ, पैसा तो है, लेकिन अभी हमारी ऑफिस की renovation हो रही है, पैसा वहाँ लगा हुआ है, and hence, we have no capital available for you because we're renovating our office." And I'm like, what the hell? I mean, this is like, how NGOs actually operate. So shortly after, unfortunately, like I said, he passed away. But at that time, I decided, along with Sunita, who's Karan's mom, that we would start this charity. And of course, there were no contributors and anything else. And I said, irrespective, we will contribute. And I mean, now we're going back maybe 13, 14 years where we ourselves didn't have the spare capital, and everyone told me stop because ye nahi ho paega and this is not sustainable. And why are you trying to take out 40, 50,000 rupees every month from your own money where you yourself sometimes struggle? I said anything will stop, but ye nahi rukega. And today, we fast forward 12, 13 years, we're now funding multiple patients. There are other people who come and contribute, and we're helping a lot of people. So, it's just that's the inspiration, like I said, was unfortunately what Karan had to face, and Karan's family had to face. But I think we're doing some good work there. And that's one of my like big goals, to really scale that up. And I continue to contribute majority of the funds from my own money even today, and that's not going to change.
Wow, Gaurav, hats off to your, compassion. And a lot of people just think, but they just cannot start anything to, they don't have the mindset to just, step up and help someone out there. So thank you so much for doing whatever you're doing. And you truly are an inspiration, Gaurav. Gaurav, what advice would you like to give it to anyone that is starting out at the stock market?
Okay, so the stock market is something that truly lights me up. Even today, whenever I'm having a conversation, and say when anyone mentions the stock market, I mean, you light up more than anything else. Um, there have been a tremendous number of misses, okay, in the journey as well. I think I blew my bankroll several times. First as a 16-year-old, then as a 19-year-old, then as a 24-year-old. So went bust many times. Started derivatives trading a few years ago, and even that was a disaster. So I think what's very important when it comes to stock market is just know your goals. So once you know what you're trying to achieve with the stock market, okay, if it's like passive income or if it's mega money, I think it's very important to know what your goals are. It's also important to know what your limitations are in terms of the capital that you can bring to the table, in terms of the time that you can actually devote. Just because someone else is trading derivatives and is on their terminal all the time doesn't mean you should throw up your day job and decide to go ahead and do that as well. So I think be very mindful of what are your limitations, both in terms of capital, in terms of time, in terms of the ecosystem, because sometimes people could get very bored if all you're doing is talking about the market, and they don't have interest in that. So I've kind of been down that path as well. So I'd say come in with a clear objective, know what your limitations are, and don't get carried away. Because the biggest mistake people do is they make a little bit of money and they say, oh, this is so easy, I could do this again and again, almost like sometimes going to a casino. But the markets always win, right? And my coach always says, the market will never die, but you will die. So the point is that you might blow your capital, but just know the markets are always there, and it's going to be slow and steady that wins the investing game or the trading game, whichever one that you so choose.
Thank you so much, Gaurav, for the great advice. I'm sure people will get benefited out of it and they will stay mindful about it.
Lovely.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining Gold Media. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you, Supriya, and just keep up the great work and keep inspiring. And yeah, looking forward to following you, and of course getting access to a lot of the great content that you're doing. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Gaurav.